Viewers and subscribers, welcome back to Beating the Press podcast. I am your host, Rafa. Now, coming up in this evening's podcast, we're going to be reviewing the games which took place over the weekend and big results for Liverpool. And of course, Arsenal dropping points again. Now, joining me this evening to review these matches and to talk some EPL football, we have returning to the podcast, Sir Cole.
Greetings, everyone.
We also have returning to the podcast, Christoph.
Good to be back, viewers.
Yes, indeed, gents. Yes, indeed. Big weekend, big results. Let's jump straight into it, Sir Cole. Nowhere else to start but top of the table. Liverpool, Sir Cole, finding it late at the death. Two at that from, a man who had been missing in action all season, but coming up with the goods when it really matters, it seems. Liverpool getting the better of Brentford, 2-0 in the 90 plus minutes. Talk to us about that game, Sir Cole. And of course, what are the implications of that victory for Liverpool going forward?
These are the types of games where, in the season review, come end of season, will be a pivotal game with the leaded the 3 points, fought hard and got it towards the end. Very good 3 points to have gotten against a team which you would expect to take 3 points from, but they held out and were able to almost hold it to the 90. But the pressure was pipe, and in the end, the pressure was just a little bit too much for Brentford.
So do you see Liverpool losing it from here on in Circle? Or is it Liverpool's title? You can, it's already locked up.
No, I won't really give it completely to Liverpool as yet. There's many a slip between cup and lip. Indeed, we have seen where Liverpool would have lost from a better position with fewer games to go. So it is not strange, I would say. So I'm still holding on.
Yeah, but I mean, looking at how the other teams in and around are playing, to me, the closest challenger right now is Nottingham Forest, who could potentially pull off a Leicester type victory. I
Yeah,
mean, is
exactly.
that out of
So
the question?
no, it's not outside the realm of thing at all, a realm of possibilities. So yes, they are the closest contenders. So should they maintain their form, they should be up in the running come game week 38 as well.
Indeed. But Christoph, I mean, Arsenal again, Christoph dropping points, taking a 2-0 lead, but Aston Villa rallying back to grab a point over there at the Emirates. Again, it seems as if Aston Villa is creating this issue of stopping Arsenal progress. Emery, the forgotten man, former Arsenal coach, he seemed to have the number for this Arsenal team.
Um, I don't know if it's having the number for this Arsenal team. I think Aston Villa took, um, they didn't create like a lot of clear-cut chances, but the two chances that they scored were absolutely brilliant. Brilliantly taken. From those crosses, excellent. And I think for Arsenal, like I've said this season, it's the chopping and changing of the defense that is happening at the
Mm.
moment. I think the biggest issue really is putting Partey at right back. Partey so far this season has been excellent playing in that defensive midfield role, but every time Arteta puts him in at right back, it completely messes with the defense. And something that I don't quite understand. Why take a midfielder and put him at right back? Versus just putting a defender over. We've seen where
I mean, it's
coaches.
a lack of confidence as far as I see. I mean, how would I feel as a defender? Let's say a Kivier, for example. That's his role. That you would be thinking that is his role, backup right back if
So
anything happens, or even
so
centre
so
back.
no. So what I'm saying is we've seen where managers will take a right back and put them on the left and make them invert. Why
Okay.
don't we see the reverse happening where they take a left back, put them on the right and invert them? I
Well,
think
it's possible, but I mean, probably the lack of confidence. Let's say a Zinchenko, for example, this could have been easily a game. Zinchenko could have come in on the left and play Timber right and Kivier, give Kivier the berth in
no,
that.
no, no, no,
I
not
mean,
not not on the left. Put him on the right.
but
The
you have
left
defenders
is
on the bench
the
and you
left
have
is pretty
midfielders
much
playing right
locked.
back.
the left is pretty much locked up by Martin Skelly. I think that left back part is his. It would be I think Arteta would be mad to give somebody else the start over him at left back at the
Well, we've
moment.
seen stranger things, and I mean, putting round pegs into square holes seem to be costing Arsenal the title. I mean, every time Arsenal
It's
has
not
this opportunity
necessarily
to cut into the lead,
it's
they
not
seem to be dropping the
necessarily
ball.
putting square pegs into round holes. It's like I've been saying, the the summer transfer window was so poor, and now they are reaping the rewards of that. They did not um adequately prepare for
I'm
put.
not sure. Maybe the signings have just not gelled. I mean,
No,
Timber
no,
was
no.
like a new signing. Califiori
It's
came in and seemed not to be rated
no,
by the
no,
coach,
no. It's
obviously.
not. The Califiori has been injured on and off. It's not
And
rated
then
by the coach or anything
Mourinho
like that.
as well. I mean, touch and go, in and out.
I will say
Sterling. Come on. I mean,
Sterling. If I would,
signings were made, but
if
Arteta
I
not
were
giving the players the opportunity, in my opinion.
adequate signings were not made in the summer.
So
Key
can that be rectified in
cover,
this window then?
but I said it already. Arsenal need three signings this window in order to get themselves back in the title race.
What are you
They
looking at there?
they need a striker, a winger, and an attacking midfielder. Easy.
Mm.
That is all
Oh,
they need to get back in the title race. But
striker, winger, attacking midfield.
well,
Oh,
for
so you
whatever
need, so
reason,
technically you're looking at backup players then.
no, no, no. You're looking for a striker because Arsenal need a first choice striker. You
Okay.
need a winger that changes how Arsenal play. I think Nico Williams would be ideal, and Nico Williams would be a starter, not a backup. You need an attacking midfielder, in my opinion, because of how poor Odegaard has been for a majority of the season. So you need to get yourself an attacking midfielder that gives
So
you
you're saying
something
you're going to
different.
bench your club captain? That's what you're trying to tell me?
Hey,
Odegaard or new signing in?
if I don't care who the player is, if the player is not
I'm
playing
not
well,
so
not in
sure about
form, you
that.
bench
That
them.
seem Odegaard seemed to be in Arteta's first 11 once everyone is fit. I mean, as I said, to me, Arsenal will be looking for backup players. I mean,
No,
yeah,
not at
I'm
the
not. I
moment.
don't see anyone taking a Saka once fit on the right.
No, nobody is not taking
Eh,
Saka spot when
And
fit.
then Arteta seemed to favor a Kai Havertz up front, almost like
We
a
talk we
three and a
talk about
half versus a nine.
we talk about this every week. Kai Havertz, you're not going to win the title with Kai Havertz
Mm.
leading the line. I was very impressed by Kai Havertz last season. Far exceeded my expectations
But
because
he's been
I
churning over the goals this season. I mean, getting a goal
I
against
had
Aston Villa as well.
absolutely no expectations for him last season, but so far this season he gets a lot of chances, but he's not bearing them. So Arsenal need a natural finisher up front, a striker who is going to convert those
But who are
chances.
the realistic possibilities out there in this January window? Who are the realistic target, a striker you could get who will move the needle, so to speak? Who is
I
there? I mean,
I
the
think
pickings seem rather slim in
I
terms of possibilities.
I think as if you want a player enough, you will get them. It doesn't matter if it's a realistic signing or not. If you
Mm.
want to make a signing, you will make that signing.
So it's just about the figure then,
It,
technically. Every player has their price.
uh, it it's not about the figure. It's about what is the club is willing to do to get to where they need to be. So if it's a case where Arsenal wants to win the title this season, they need to make the priority, number one priority. If you make no other signing, must be a striker for Arsenal.
Mm.
If you make no
Gotcha.
other signing, a striker must be
So
bought.
no striker, Arsenal won't win is your
No,
call then.
Arsenal will not be winning anything unless they buy a striker
So
just
striker
before the
bought,
window.
Arsenal will win.
No, Arsenal put themselves back in the driver's seat, put themselves back in the title race. Arsenal need a striker. They won't be
Gotcha.
winning anything without a striker because they're
Without a
not
striker.
converting those gilt edged chances. And it's costing them points. It's costing them points at Aston Villa. It cost them the FA Cup, costing them in the Carling Cup. So
Interesting times ahead, Sir Cole. Interesting times ahead. But Sir Cole, let's segue over to Manchester United. Talk to us. What's going on over Old Trafford these days? I mean, another defeat under Amarin's belt. What's going on? Oh, your mic seemed to be muted, Sir Cole.
Yeah, we seem to have fixed the leaky roof, but the leaky defense still needs some work. Amorim, new manager just come in, just working with the team for a few weeks now. Still needs time to get his house in order. But so far, the start has not been impressive at all.
So
He
you're
has
not impressed with the coach thus far, Sir Cole? I mean, after what? 10, 11 games?
Well, he said he's not impressed with the start. He didn't say anything about the coach.
thank
Oh,
you. I
yeah.
never
Oh, but what about the coach? Are
the
you, what's your read on the coach at this point in time? I mean, you've seen him long enough to at
start.
least make some sort of assessment. Is he the man to turn this Manchester United team around? Given time, of course.
Yeah, that's the thing. He needs time. He needs time to get the pieces that he wants and put them in the places that he feels them best suited. So he's still getting to know the players which are there, knowing their strengths and weaknesses, and see how he can use material that he has to try and make the best outcome for the team each time they go on the field.
Well, it seems like every coach, Sir Cole, is struggling with this set of players. It seems as if the current players need to be shipped out and a fresh face is brought in because it seems as if all the coaches who have come in have been struggling with this set of players. I mean, we saw it under Ten Hag to an extent under Ole, and now we're seeing it under Amarin. Is it a case where the players are just not good enough at this point in time?
No, I really and truly find it hard to say that the players are not good enough. I think it is the mixture of players plus tactics which probably need some amount of tweaking, because we have seen in the past where some players may be getting bad results under a particular coach. Another
Right.
coach comes in, and those players all of a sudden seem like they are stars.
But who are the players who are getting bad result under Ten Hag and bad result under this coach? Those
Well,
seem to be the players who need to be moved out, Circle. Is there
no,
any
but
names you can call? I
no,
mean, we've
it's not
seen the
the
likes of a Rashford
Andre
pushing for a
Onana.
transfer, for example.
yeah, but
Onana seem to be causing a lot of high-profile errors as well.
what's new? It has never been a case where he was always fantastic. He has always been known for errors.
So bad signing. You what in terms of that
Put it
signing?
this
You would
way.
say bad
Put it
signing.
this way. Had Ten Hag been in the job up to this point, the results would very likely have been the same. These are Ten Hag
Mm,
like results.
players, right? And
Yes,
and I
so
mean,
the results
majority of them are Ten
really
Hag
haven't
like
changed.
signings as well,
Probably the results really and truly have not changed. In
right?
fact, they probably know may have more edging towards the side of worse.
But but recently I'm hearing concerns about relegation battle circle.
Uh-huh.
Is there any concerns on your end about Manchester United being relegated or getting drawn into a relegation dogfight? Is that really a possibility of the great Manchester United? Is this the level United have reached over the period?
I won't say it's a concern at this point. However, if the results continue, then we have to be realistic and say yes. If the results continue, then yes, we will be in the drop
Mm.
zone fight.
They might be in and around the area, but I think they've gotten enough points in the last couple of weeks where they're potentially safe because they're currently 10 points clear of that relegation. So they're potentially safe mathematically. They could end up down there, but that would take, some tremendous results from the bottom teams and them continuing to slide.
Continuing, right?
Right.
Yeah,
So
I mean, I think the coach just needs time, in my opinion. Things will probably get worse until they start getting better circle. But for me, he needs a couple of windows to really get rid of those players that doesn't fit his system and bring in players who fits his mold of play, in my
Here,
opinion.
here's the problem that Amarin has inherited. And it's not just Ten Hag's fault, right? It's Manchester United's fault, and I've said it before. Is that they buy these players for inflated fees, and then they pay them inflated rates as well. Even if Man U wanted to, I doubt they could sell any of these players. They can't sell Rashford because nobody is going to take up that salary. They can't sell an Anthony, nobody is going to pay that, and so on and so forth. And that is a bigger issue for Man U than the player them
Well,
underperforming.
sometimes
They
you just have
can't
to take
offload them.
but you have to take a loss. cut your losses. You have to take a
Oh,
hit for
what
results to change.
what is the loss that is acceptable here?
Well,
Accepting a loss on the fee.
that might be the question. That might be
Accepting
the
a
question.
loss on the fee is fine. Maybe somebody would value Rashford at 80 million. Absolutely
Right.
not worth that. But maybe Man U said, all right, we will sell him for 20 million. But there's still the issue of salary, where Rashford is getting what, 350,000 pounds a week. Let's say
Yeah,
Dortmund decided to buy him.
but
Dortmund is not going
again,
to want to pay him 350,000 pounds.
fine, that's fine. But another approach could be you freeze the player out, much like what Chelsea has done, and say, hey, you're not part of the first team. So if you want to stay
Eh,
and
Right,
rot on the
but
bench or in the under 21s, fine.
some
The choice
some
is
some
yours, but you're not
some
going to be part of the first team. And then
some
you take a hit.
players are happy to sit and ride out the contract.
Fine, that's what
You
I'm
still
saying.
end up making a loss.
But that's what I'm saying. Sometimes you have to take a hit if you can't move the player and the player is not performing on the
No,
pitch.
but still, fine. Take a hit, but in this case, it is many hits. It's not just one hit. It's not just
Right,
one
it's
play.
not just one hit.
It's not just one. So
It's the
so
entire it's
um,
almost the
how much?
entire starting 11
Imagine
and bench.
Ah,
exactly. You may be racking up a couple
so persist with
million
these
or
players then and
a
continue to get
couple
poor
hundred
results then, Sir
million
Cole.
worth of losses,
But the
and then buy him.
alternative is persist with them and continue to get the poor results. That's the
Well,
No,
alternative.
when
one another
So while you're
alternative.
saving money, not shipping them off or having failed to ship them off, but they're still underperforming and you're still getting poor results.
fine,
So
then
some sort of decision, you have to come to a decision at some point, whether it be where you continue taking the bad results until contracts run out, or you say, okay, I'm going to cut my losses and get rid of them in one form or the other, whether they are not playing but they're still on your salary, and bring in some fresh players who may perform better.
well,
I'm not
what
sure
we
what
can
the
do
solutions are.
is simply wait out the contract, not renew,
Right.
and then move them on.
That's
That's
the
what I'm
thing though.
saying. So
So
at
That's the thing
some
though.
point, you have to make a decision.
That's the thing though. Manu will see these player contracts running down and then renew them like they are stupid. We saw it with I have to this day I cannot understand why a Paul Pogba who was underperforming got his contract renewed at a higher fee and then you still allowed him to leave for free. And they're going to the same thing is going to happen with Marcus Rashford. He's going to run his contract down and Manu is going to give him a new contract and then you have him on the books for another 4 or 5 years. Marcus Rashford is not good enough. He has never been good enough no matter how people try to trick themselves.
Mm. Tough times ahead. Tough times ahead. I'm not sure if we here have the solution. That's why the coach is paid the big bucks. So it's a case of watch and see, Sir Cole. But it seems as if your neighbors, Sir Cole, have turned the corner. Manchester City is on the rise, it would appear. Talk to us about the turnaround that seemed to be occurring under Pep. I mean, we're coming from a case of 11 games with 9 defeats, Sir Cole. And Pep seemed to have picked up a bit of form over the last 3 games, getting 3 wins, I believe, on the bounce. Talk to us. Can City make a surge up the league table?
well, yeah, they can make a surge up, but not enough to trouble the top spot.
So you're saying City is out of the race at this point in time?
Yeah, man. The thing is, even if they win their remaining games, the problem is Liverpool dropping enough points for them to be back in contention, which really I really don't see happening. So yes, City can go on a run, can win everything, but the gap is so wide that really and truly I really don't see them overtaking even top two.
Mm. Interesting times ahead. But Pep seemed to have found the formula, Christoph. What has changed in the City team? Why the results have now changed as well, Sir Cole? What's the difference between the City we're seeing playing over the weekend, getting the better of Ipswich, versus a City we saw a couple weeks ago facing the likes of Bournemouth, for example? What was missing, and what has City now brought back into the fold? Is it a
Well,
case if it's just a case where players have gotten fit who are out injured?
it could be one of a number of factors, but personally, at the start of the season, if we're going to have guess the result between Man City and Ipswich, we probably have guessed a similar result. So it's really Man City are really where they should have been.
So
This,
you're
And
saying you
this,
haven't seen them being tested then to give them
this,
the green light to say they've turned the corner.
no, to
That's what
say
you're
they are
saying.
turning the
this is
corner.
not the type of game that you can look at and really judge that something has changed. To be honest, because we've seen where they've been playing very small teams.
So who would be a better game than Christoph? Call a team name.
Uh,
Which
uh,
team would be a better game to judge this Man City team by to say, hey, we,
outside of the top four,
right?
uh, we could say Newcastle,
Okay.
Fulham.
Fulham,
Chelsea.
Chelsea.
Okay, all
Um,
right. Well, Man City Chelsea is coming up in short order, so that should be a good game now to I guess gauge how much progress they've made. So that's what I'm saying. I mean, call a team name that we can say, all right, yes, this team is at a level where we can now make a good assessment as to if this Man City team has really turned the corner. But for me, I think they have made some strides. Uh, Obviously Pep is making some signings as well, and we've seen the likes of a Kyle Walker probably edging his way out also. And a few players have seemed to be getting back into full fitness, the likes of Kevin De Bruyne, for example. He's obviously fitter than he was 2, 3, 4 weeks ago. And we see the likes of the England international circle, Foden, coming to the fore. Is this the level that we should expect from Foden going forward, or he's just going through a green patch at this point in time?
I don't know. It seems like with Man City, every season you have this kind of thing where the players are phased in or phased out. So you hardly have one player dominating throughout the whole season. A man may start red hot and then fade. You have another man who starts poorly and then in the season in top form. Foden would have started this season miles away from how he ended last season. Now he's coming back into some form. So at this point, I expect him to continue through until the end of the season. I really won't see him dropping the level again.
Mm. Definitely something to keep one's eye on is that the farmer Foden, is this just a little fluke, or is just going through a purple patch, or these are the levels that we've now come to expect from a Phil Foden,
These are the
it
levels
will.
that we should expect from a Phil Foden.
Mm. I see, I
Mm.
see. So technically then it seemed like you're saying City will go as far as Foden bring them then circle.
No, I won't say that as far as Foden brings them. City, no. See, Foden, De Bruyne, Haaland. You will say are the three
Two pegs in that
key pegs
attacking.
in the offense. So as far as that trio can take them.
I see, I see. Interesting times ahead for sure, but I'm still keeping my eye on City, still, looking at them out of the corner of the eyes because we definitely know they can go on these marathon runs and reel off 3 points after 3 points after 3 points. But Christoph, we saw Chelsea getting a big win over Wolves today. And the Wolves season seemed to be going from bad to worse. Christoph, what can we say about this Chelsea team? And talk to us about Wolves. Is Wolves really one of the teams that will be relegated?
I think it might be too early to say for Wolves because we did see where they had a little resurgence in the last couple of weeks. I mean, Chelsea is just a better team for them. And in my opinion, the goals that Chelsea scored seems like, it was a bit of luck. I think Wolves in this game probably suffered more bad luck than it was Chelsea outplaying them, in my opinion.
But that has been Wolves from the start of the season.
Yeah, that has
to
been
be
the case
to
this
be
season.
honest, so
So
at some point, I don't think it can be down to bad luck. I think it's just
no,
a
no.
case where
As we said, no, Wolves has played well for most of the season, but they are not getting the results. And it's the same thing again in this game. Chelsea got some very, lucky goals, deflections, and so on. So
yeah,
I
but
don't.
at some point in the game, you have to say, hey, this isn't luck again. It's just that Wolves are missing those minute details, so to speak. In my opinion, I mean, you could say 1, 2, 3 games, bad luck. But then when you've gone half the season, And it's a similar trajectory. It's a similar characteristic of most of the games where you play well, but an error here or there, a little deflection here or there, you know, at some point it becomes a pattern, and that seemed to be what Wolves have found themselves in. It has now become habitual where they play well but still end up on the bitter end of a defeat or a team coming back and taking points off them by consolidating into a draw. So it's hard to see how far this Wolves team will go, and to me they're definitely in a relegation dogfight. Chelsea on the other hand have put a stop to their slump. They were what had dropped points in the last 5 games. So this is a welcome win for them. But can Chelsea finish in the top four circle? What says you?
Yeah, I did call Chelsea to finish in the top four, and I still think they will. Yeah, sometimes it kind
But
of hard.
will one of these big teams miss out circle at the expense of Forest? Forest has to be given some thought process right now.
Yes,
Forest has to be in the
if you
mix.
are if you are in the mix at this point, then you must be taken seriously. Which is what I did a few years ago with Leicester. If you are leading at this point, or if you're in contention at this point, you must be taken
So,
seriously.
what says you, Sir Cole? Will you be putting a small wager on Forest? I
It
mean, the
depends
odds
on the
at this
odds.
point
We
should be
never
quite
know.
good. The odds should be quite good at this point in time. I mean,
Probably yes, they should. I need to go and
Liverpool should
I need to
still
go
be
and
the
check it
clear
out.
favorites, and Forest should be a long shot underdog in all honesty, but they are definitely up there, and possibly the momentum could bring them through to the rest of the season. Liverpool, when they did meet, managed to come from behind for a draw, so that just goes to show the levels at which this Forest team is operating. And also, they are the only team which has beaten Liverpool all season, 1-0 at Anfield. So that's definitely a feather in their cap. So this is a team that must be taken seriously, and the sort
Yeah,
of
as I did
momentum
say.
and confidence which they have could possibly bring them through the rest of the season and land them in one of those Champions League spots. And with that being said, another big team would miss out. It could be City, Arsenal, Chelsea. A big team will be missing out on Champions League come next season, Sir Cole,
Yeah,
if Forest finish in that top four.
yeah, probably. Well, probably, definitely, one of them will. If Forest takes a spot, which right now they are favorites to really hold on to. I would say. I really
Uh,
don't know so far as falling outside the top four. They have
so
been
at this point though, Sir Cole, who are your top four based on how the league is currently structured? If you were to give us an assessment as to the four teams to finish one, two, three, four, what would be your call at this point of the season?
Liverpool, Forest, City, Chelsea. So sorry, Arsenal.
So Forest to finish second circle
So
at this point in
No,
so
time.
you don't think
not
Arsenal will be
necessarily the
making the
order.
top four?
Not necessarily the order. I'm just calling the top
Oh,
four.
okay.
So
So you're saying
so
Arsenal would miss out.
Yeah, I would say that Arsenal would be the one to drop out at this point.
Wow. What says you though, Christoph? What's your top four at this stage of the season?
Um, I think Chelsea will miss out on the top four, and Man City will get that either fourth or third. Don't know as yet. Why I say that is because we know at the back end of the season, Man City tends to get going and just keep winning games at this point. While I don't think they're in it to win the league, they're out of that. They could definitely still make that top four, and I think they do it at the expense of City at Chelsea. Sorry.
So you're saying Forest would finish in the top four then, Christoph,
At the moment, I think Forest finishes top four. At the moment,
along with
anything
Liverpool,
can happen.
Arsenal, and City.
Right.
Not only that, I think they deserve to finish top four.
Yeah, I mean, based on the sort of football they're playing currently, I mean, a top four finish would definitely put them over the top. And I mean,
But
they are one of the
the
older
goal,
teams with pedigree and with two Champions League title under their belt, circle, something Arsenal has yet to achieve.
yeah, true. And the thing is, true, we told an injury to Chris Wood, and things change very quickly.
Well, that's always one of those things. I mean,
Well,
injury to any key player
Nottingham
in
Forest
general.
is in the market for a striker. They are wary of it, and they are in the market for a striker.
No, I think it's, it's not just buying a striker. Any team can buy a striker. I would say all teams in the league across a 3 year span will at some point will buy a striker. It's not just buying a striker.
Not
It is
Arsenal.
it is what you do after you buy a striker.
5 years
Or
and no striker
a
bought.
striker that fits this sort of system that the team is playing as well.
No, but the thing
Um,
is, listen, teams do a lot of research on a player before buying a player. So to then buy the player and then say the player doesn't fit the system is not something that I really accept. If a player doesn't fit the system, you should have known already from scouting.
well, it could be the player is bought, but then the coach changes, and then the
Or
player doesn't fit the
or,
system.
or something we don't really factor in many times is that the player himself has to adapt also. And sometimes the players find it difficult to adapt with
Right.
it is the training regime, with it is the new surroundings, adapt to the coach himself, the coaching idea. So sometimes the striker comes in, the striker is good, but there's just something that is not really ticking for him.
Yeah, definitely, that's true. I mean, at the end of the day, the player is a person, with a family, with kids, with
Yeah.
wives, with
Yeah.
girlfriends, and has to find housing, adapt to a new culture, new environment, food, etc. Especially if it's a foreign-based player, So definitely these are factors that need to be taken into consideration as well. Once a new player is coming in, that's oftentimes why players take a bit of time to adapt and adjust circle. It's not just on the field, but it's life in general, the
It is.
lifestyle, etc. So food for thought for sure, especially in this January transfer window. But any final thoughts, Christoph, as it relates to overall what's taking place in the EPL and this week in particular? What's your overall take thus far in the season?
Interesting season so far. We've seen, probably who you thought would have dominated the season. Drop off immensely with Man City probably dropping points, losing 9 straight games or something like that. Arsenal dropping off as well. You thought, they'd be up there competing as well. I mean, they're still in it at the moment, but injuries and poor recruitment over the summer has kind of dampened them. Uh Manu has been somewhat interesting in that, they got rid of Ten Hag, gotten a new manager, but the results have not really changed that much, even if you say that they're playing better football.
Yeah, man, we
Um,
can see the philosophy coming out now.
it kind of reminds me of the old saying, the more things change, the more they stay the same. At the moment at Manu, they have to definitely get rid of all the players that the poor recruitment has kind of really bitten them. So to speak. Chelsea could say that their $2 billion investment is potentially paying off now, but in my opinion, it's really just Cole Palmer for them. It's interesting to see what becomes of their season should Cole Palmer, pick up an injury or something. Um, Liverpool just marching on. Interesting to see if Liverpool signs anybody in the window with, Trent Alexander, potentially leaving. We don't know if that's going to happen or not, but, will Liverpool go in and sign a replacement or, a backup? And with is it Andy Robertson kind of aging out potentially, do you get a backup for him? We saw the Liverpool defense ship some goals in the last couple of games. Do you get reinforcement for your defense to push on? Interesting to see for the 11 days remaining in the window.
Some telling questions there, Christoph. Definitely some telling questions. As you say, it should be quite interesting to see what these teams do in the winter. But Sir Cole, what's your take? How has the season been going for you in particular? What's your idea of where Manchester United could potentially finish this season to call it a success?
At this point, based on where we are, I think we can realistically try and push for a top half finish and see if we can probably, you know, maybe top 8 if things
Possibly squeeze
go
into
well.
Europe, Sir Cole. whether it be the Conference League or the Europa League.
Probably, but I don't think we really want to play that. But that fact, it will be my advice to try and avoid getting in position to play that, so you can focus simply and wholly on the league itself.
Right. Play one game a week and use the rest of
Play
the
one
week to
game a
train
week and maximize on that, and then you can put a top four placing as your
as your
objective
objective.
for the next season. But don't go into the following season trying to win conference league. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that might be a good idea. I recall when Liverpool made a push as well, that was definitely the case. They had dropped out of Champions League the year before, and then that year when they made that push was they were just in the EPL. So the coach had the players all week, and then one game at the end of the week to play. And then, of course, you rotate with your cup matches. So it might be a formula which work, less stress on players, and the coach can now get a chance to get his philosophy across and get the players firing on all cylinders. But there you have it, viewers and subscribers. Thank you again for tuning in to us here on Beating the Press podcast. Please continue to help us to grow by, of course, sharing, hitting that like button, and leaving a comment. And of course, if you haven't subscribed as yet, hit that subscription bell. But until next time, this is Rafa signing off.